Cool. Hopefully, I don't know why it's live. Why is it live? Record only. Okay, I think we're just recording. Anyway, cool. So we went. We had a bunch of technical difficulties there. Now using your cell phone, we're good. Hi, I'm Mike. You are Melba,
Yep.
and you are in the Palm Beach County area in Florida,
Yep.
and you own a plumbing contracting business.
Yes.
And I assume you have a license holder, or you're working on
Yep.
that, or and that's why you're taking your business and finance law exam, and you'll be taking the plumbing exam the same time I am in Kissimmee in August. Awesome. So you reached out to me because I put a video on the Uncensored channel on how I passed with an 80.83, and I'm proud of that, by the way.
I think you could be.
There's 125 questions,
Yeah.
and I utilized the same technique that I used to pass my exams in South Carolina. In New York, we don't have these computer-based exams. The plumbing exam, it's a practical exam, and it is actually you have to build this thing, with pipe, and there's no computer, there's no proctor. There's a proctor, but it's different. Like in South Carolina, also in Florida. So in the state of Florida, you have an open book exam. And in this video, we're strictly going to talk about how to pass the construction business and finance exam. Now, you have a bunch of books that they let you bring in. Number one, we have this book, The Builder's Guide to Accounting. This is the revised edition. I see you have tabs already on it. Awesome. You're also allowed these things, the IAI, the 201, the 401, the 701. You're allowed to tab that as well and highlight. And then you have
the Bible.
This is the Bible, and it's thick. Now, in comparison, I just want to show you something. So I don't really plan on doing much commercial work, but in Florida, it's either, you're a contractor or you're not. There's no residential or commercial buildup. But in the state of South Carolina, you see this little book right here?
Yeah, I saw your video.
Now, the one for commercial is a little bit thicker than residential, but if you pass the commercial, you get the residential. But that's about it.
You made me want to move to South Carolina, by the way, saying that. I was like, that's where I should go.
Well, I am going to be making an announcement with what I plan on doing with my South Carolina licensure within the next week or two.
Okay.
It's good news to those who have been a supporter of mine, for a very long time, or if you're just joining in on my adventure. Real quickly, I have been in the plumbing and heating and air conditioning business since 2004. I've owned my own business since 2009. I'm a licensed master plumber in certain jurisdictions in New York State, the entire state of South Carolina. I have a home improvement contractor license in certain jurisdictions in New York, which allows me to do HVAC. And I have HVAC license for residential in the state of South Carolina. I'm expanding into Florida, God willing, by passing 2 more exams. I got 1 done. I got 2 more to go, and I'm really excited about that. But I did all of this and what I've accomplished so far in my professional journey by means of the community, the YouTube community. They have motivated me to expand. I was talking about it and I would love to do it, but about 2 years ago, I got a phone call from Conrad from Cape Plumbing Services in Lexington, South Carolina. We made a lot of moves together, but unfortunately, we just couldn't figure out the nitty gritty and the fine print. And he's a great guy. We learned a lot. We still talk, and it's just we're great, but we're not business partners. But my goal was, from New York to Florida, and then work my way up the East Coast, utilizing the principles that my company uses on a daily basis, to promote, professionalism in the trade, wearing the booties, rolling out the red carpet, wiping your feet on your carpet, putting your booties on, presenting, options on the repair, because that's mostly what we do, service and repair.
Right.
We go into a home or a location, we present ourselves, we have to befriend them professionally, because at the end of the day, they have to like who they're doing business with. And if you don't like who you're doing business with, you'll probably tell them to, okay, thank you for your opinion. I'm going to call somebody else, and get their opinion. You get a second opinion. So I try to promote that. And that's how I've grown my business. And that's how I plan on expanding my business in other states. So the issue at hand is now, how to pass the Florida construction business and finance exam. You have all these books, right? You have the Builder's Guide to Accounting, which sucks, right? This is a horrible book. My accountant probably wouldn't be able to pass without opening this book and actually knowing what accrual accounting is and all this other nonsense, which is hard. And we'll talk about that, right? You have these IAIs, for contract, your contractor, owner, contractor, architect relationships, and the contract for construction, estimating, all that good stuff. Those are in those. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the most important thing is this book right here. You have to be able to navigate through this book. So I have this broken up into a few sections. I am going to start with here, and at any time, feel free to stop me and we'll go from there. So number one, we have time management. I'm not, I'll probably make mistakes here and there with quoting facts, but to my understanding, you have 120 questions. You have 6.5 hours to answer it. 5 questions are placebo ones. Basically, they're basically test questions that, Pearson VUE in the state of Florida are looking to introduce into the exam protocol. And, listen, if everyone gets it right, they're not going to use it, obviously, that question, because they want, to have some people not get it right because it becomes a tricky question. So you have 125 questions. 5 won't be counted. But you don't know which 5 those are. 6.5 hours. I know it seems like, it's a long day, but the techniques that I used in South Carolina, I applied them for taking my exam in Florida, and that is, I went into the exam room ready to go. I went to the bathroom beforehand at the facility. I washed my hands. Right now, sometimes you get that sticky feeling after working all day or whatever. You get the nervousness. Your little palms are sweaty. I washed myself off in the bathroom, threw some water in my face, making sure, I'm not thirsty. I don't have to go to the bathroom. If you're nervous, use the bathroom beforehand. But I try not to get up or leave the room. Maybe I can get up and stretch a little bit and lean back. But what worked for me so far is not getting up out of the chair, because you only have 6.5 hours. And believe it or not, you will run out of time unless you manage part 1, which is time management. And I'm going to look at my screen up there because I took notes along this because I want to try to, have some kind of like a curriculum here or protocol I'm following, or just summary. But you have to understand that regardless, everyone gets the same amount of time, and it's pass or fail. You need a 70 to pass, and either you're going to pass or you fail, basically. But you have to be able to manage time. So one of the biggest things, few people have contacted me by email, also by messenger, DMs, after my exam was about a month ago. Was people have taken this exam a couple times or one time, and the common denominator out of the 5 people that emailed me was, I ran out of time and I failed. So I want to make this video, which is probably about half hour, 45 minutes long, on how to do your best to pass. So you need time management. So when you go into Pearson VUE to take this exam, you're going to get a 8.5 by 11 piece of plastic paper with a dry erase pencil or pen. And one side is going to be like, I guess, rules or whatever, and the other side is blank. So the first thing that I would recommend doing is read every single question quickly. Go through, start at question 1, go through 125, just so you have an understanding of what's going on. And in a corner or section of that piece of plastic that you have to write on, because it's not a piece of paper, but let's refer to it as a piece of paper for argument's sake, with a pencil, right? In a portion of that, maybe write, like one column, yes, no, question mark. So, and as you go through this, if let's say you're question number 1, I know what this answer is. It's, it's answer C. It's multiple choice, A, B, C, and D. And A, B, C, D is one of the topics of parts of this I'm going to teach you about. So let's say question number 1, its answer is number A. Answer is A. You're going to put a little 1 into the yes column. Don't answer it on the computer, right? Well, you can though. If you're 100% certain, do it. Answer that, right? And go up to the next. And as you come across one like, I have no idea what this is, put that number in the no part. And also, I don't want to jump in between back and forth, but we got to try to figure out what book that question could be in. And you could do that the first time around or the second time around. So as you're going through the 125 questions, try to get an idea of which ones are you got, the cat's in the bag. You got that for sure, 100%. Ones that are questionable, like, oh, you know what? Is it this or is it that? Put that in the question mark. And if you have no idea, put that in the no category. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. The biggest reason is people run out of time is because they're taking 15, 20, 30 minutes to answer a question, and they're getting jammed up. And one thing I noticed in the beginning of the exam are the math ones or the accounting questions, right? And I can't even begin to explain how many times I'm cursing myself. I'm not cursing myself, cursing this exam, because asking about employment taxes or what was the other one, or accounting methods or cash basis and this, and I'm like, listen, I have QuickBooks, I have a bookkeeper, I have an accountant, I have Intuit online payroll. What the fuck do I need this for, right? And I'm just cursing. I was like, oh my god, what's wrong with these people? Like, why do I need to know this? And I take a breath and I'm like, you know what? That'll be in my question mark or my no column. And let me tell you something. I went through 125 questions, and out of those 125 questions, I had and I was doing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, marking like that. So I can count instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when I went through all 125 questions, I realized that, you know what? I got this. I'll pass because I have roughly around 70%, 70 answers right. I know they're right. Now I got to worry about the remaining ones, which is, I don't know, 60, whatever it is. I don't know. What's like my horrible math. That's why I have a calculator, which I let you carry, let you bring in. So I went through all the questions and made a chart of what I think is right and what is wrong and what is questionable.
That's a great message.
Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. Back to the beginning. You have to, you have in the beginning of the, who's at my front door? At the beginning of the exam is usually the hard math questions, right? You I don't know if you're good at math or not good at math. Me, I'm not really good at math, but if I know the formula or know how things work, I'm able to answer the question. But the beginning of the exam are usually the math questions, and I like to skip them unless I really, really, really know what the answer is. I have sample questions here somewhere. Like one question is where is it? Like trying to find out, you're reconciling your bank statement and your checkbook is unavailable and blah, blah, blah. And then you have a bank charge. The bookkeeper failed to enter this and checks. But there's usually unnecessary information they give you to try to stump you and try to trick you. So I like to skip the math questions and come back to them if I have like an hour and a half left, like I did on exam day. But the most important thing is that you have to manage your time. When you go through those first 125 questions, that'll probably take you about half hour, 45 minutes. And that seems like, wow, it's so long. I was like, but it's 125 questions. Yeah. And if you spend, like a minute on each, that's too long, right? Because that's an hour, 2 hours. That's 2 hours already, right? So you really want to quickly scan through them and spend maybe 20, 30 seconds on each, just so you have an idea of what's going on and make little notes as you go along, because you can run out of time. So read all the questions on the second round, now go to round 2. So you go to question number 1, the answer, mark it and move off to the next. Don't spend any more time wasting on it. Just, okay, if you know that which of the here's a sample question. All the following can be accomplished as a result of a good cash budget, except A, B, C, and D. And 2 of those things really don't make any sense. 2 do, and there's only one answer. And the answer is reconciliation of a bank statement. But you'll know that kind of question will be in the accounting handbook, which is this one, right? And we'll talk about how to find books and tabbing and keywords in a little bit later in this thing. But you don't want to get jammed up with wasting time because you'll run out of time and you'll maybe not pass. Question so far?
You're good.
Good. Okay. So the next one is keywords. You have code books or books like this, which will reference, and this, which will reference, four words, which is shall, must, minimum, min, or maximum. If you see one of those words, chances are it's going to be in here. The IAI, right? Or in the big giant blue book, right? Handbook, for example, right here, the Builder's Guide to Accounting. They're gonna, the process to do the job, or the process of how to, balance the books or cash flow statements and things like that. The techniques on how you should do things, or recommended or suggested. Those keywords: recommended, suggested. Because look, listen, this book is not going to tell you how to do it, but it's going to tell you this is what the code states, right, how it shall be done, or you must do it this way, or at a minimum you need this, or max you need that. Referencing also keywords. Let's say according to IAI 201, blah 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 blah. You already know now. Like, listen, it's all going to be in 201, and as long as you have an idea of what's in there, you'll be able to find it. As long as you have a good understanding of what's in there, you've highlighted and you've tabbed correctly. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You'll be able to find it, because 20% of your questions will tell you what book it's in. According to the Builder's Guide to Accounting, blah 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 is means this. Blank is this, and that's where you use the glossary or the index to help you find the answer. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Next, and I'm not even using this. Let's go back here. Tips and tricks. We skipped 2 keywords, but now we're tips.
I wrote it down. I heard you.
Like definitions. I love definition questions. Like blank means blank, or blank is blank. If you don't know what blank is, look at the question. Look at the answers they're giving you. It's multiple choice: A, B, C, or D, and generally 2 out of those 4 are not related at all, and 2 are, and it's a 50-50 chance that even if you don't even open the book, that you're getting it right. So utilizing the table of contents, the index, you should definitely have a tab on your table of contents, on your index, the glossary, definitions. Those are very important sections that need to be tabbed. And when I say tabs, like this is the Florida Contractors Manual. I have, listen, it's organized tabs. You can see it there, right?
Yep.
And even on the top, but you don't want to have them like right on top of one another where you're not going to be able to see it. When you're starting in the tab, like start, the top of it and work your way down, and also utilize the top of the binding and also the bottom, and you'll be able to find it. But don't just start randomly tabbing like this book. Right, this is a book that I bought from actually the instructor, but there's tabs everywhere. You can't see anything, and I used a label maker, and I did things like that. I don't know, how do your tabs look?
I did it here, okay, and here, just like you're saying. So
did you rent books, or you bought it brand new and you tabbed it yourself?
I bought them.
And you tabbed yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Good. I highly recommend, because it forces you to read the books. Yeah. I was at my first South Carolina exam, which was in Myrtle Beach. That's the one I made the weekend out with my wife. My wife's at the beach on a I think it was a Monday. I believe it was a Monday. It was a Friday. And 2 back-to-back exams. So I had the South Carolina business and the business law and management, and then I had the trade. Then I had the trade exam, which was air conditioning. My door is so busy today. I don't get it. Why? It's like so many people coming to my house. It's crazy. And it's 6 o'clock. But there was one guy who's there, and I was the first one there. It starts at 8 o'clock. I think I was there at 7:15. Nervous, and I was told that the Myrtle Beach location was the best place to take an exam, because the guy there will actually help you. not help you like, give you the answers, but let's say your nerve, it'll kind of calm your nerves. So I went there and I checked myself in, and emptied my pockets. I gave my cell phone in the car key, put it in a bag, put it in a desk, and I put it in the bag and put it over my chair. I'm sorry. But another guy came in right after me. The books were still wrapped in plastic. He's never even opened them up. I'm like, and at one point, I think it's like maybe 3 hours in. It's like maybe it's 11 o'clock. I looked over, he's gone. And I know he had, the one of the exams. I forgot which one it was, but he was there for at least till 1 o'clock. He was gone. I'm like, all right, I guess he gave up.
What?
But one of the tricks, and I have it written down on one of the other categories or parts, is that you really should be skimming through these books. And I haven't really even touched my air conditioning books, which I'm taking my Air B exam. I think July 6th, maybe, here in New York. I've opened the books up. I haven't really studied all of them, but you really need to take some time and actually go through. I wouldn't say page by page, but listen, if you're in, the FC, the blue book, the Florida's Contractors Manual, it gets into like licensing, like, okay, blah, 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 blah. But one of the questions that I couldn't find at my exam is, if you take this exam, how long is it valid for if you don't apply for a license? You know what the answer is?
No, I can't think of it. I did read it somewhere, but I don't
in the
remember.
blue book, and it's under the licensing section, which is chapter 2, right?
Okay.
And it's in there, and I just couldn't find it, and I probably wasted, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes
Okay.
time trying to find that. So that was one of the questions I had. Like, if you take your construction build, the finance exam, and if you don't apply for a license, how long is it valid for? And it's a few years. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's a few years. But again, if you've never opened up the book before, you're going to be clueless. And even if you buy them tabbed like this, which I don't suggest you doing, because you need to know where to put the tabs, right? Like, this is a tab book. I bought a tabbed book when I got the Florida thing, into my head, when I visited my in-laws in Boynton Beach almost a year ago, and I sent a ductless mini split installed by this hack who's not even the license holder. He has an age, the license holder managing the business. Like, I'm like, bro, you never put a ductless in before. But I asked you beforehand. You've done it before? I was like, yeah. He made a mess, took him all day, and he's the reason why. He knows this. He's the reason why I'm doing this now in Florida. It pushed me to do it, accelerated it. I would have been fine in New York, South Carolina. Let me get South Carolina rolling, and then I'm going to conquer Florida.
Yeah.
I'm going to conquer Florida, or I'm going to conquer Florida together.
You are going to have so much work here because there's so many crappy contractors. It's like disgusting.
Yeah.
And people don't want to work.
Well, yeah, that too. So back to the tips and tricks, like the index, definitions, the glossary. Literally, you can pass this exam just by knowing, utilizing the index and knowing what keywords to look for. You need use the index. You can find the answers, seriously. But one thing, you can take the exam in English or in Spanish. So if like English is not your primary language or second language, and Spanish is, you'd be a fool not to take it in Spanish. I'm not a Spanish speaking person. I know un poquito español, right? But if you're Spanish speaking as your primary language, or you know it much better than English, you really should be taking the exam in Spanish, because, listen, a half hour or an hour that you'll save because it's your native language will be to your benefit. Use it if it's there, don't know what to, okay, let's see. If you get stuck on a question, don't spend more than a couple minutes on it. Skip it. You can mark it on the computer. Like, you can, they let you mark it, and you can go back to all the marked questions at the end and review them.
How do they let you mark it? Like because it's on the computer.
You're at a desk.
Right.
It's a little monitor. You have a keyboard. You have a mouse, and you have the piece of paper. The plastic and the pen, and on the screen you'll mark it. See
Okay.
a little thing, like a radio button, and you'll mark it or check it. I don't remember. You can mark it with the mouse, and you click on it, and boom, it's marked.
Okay.
And even if you answer it, you can still mark it. So let's say you picked A, ABC, multiple choice. You picked A, but you're unsure of it. You mark it, and you go back to it and review it. So,
Gotcha.
but don't spend too much time on one question. Like again, one of the common denominator of people failing that I've heard is that they got stuck up on a question. They spent 15, 20, 30 minutes. Like, come on, you out of your mind? What's wrong with you? Just skip it. It's 125 questions. 6.5 hours. It goes by quickly. It
Yeah.
really does. I got up. I had like 70 minutes left. You don't know
Wow.
what time it is. You don't know what time it is. You don't have a watch on. You have no jewelry. There's nothing in your pockets. All you have is a stupid little piece of paper and that dry erase pen, and you have a clock, time remaining in the corner on
Wow.
the screen. You have no idea what time it is. And I didn't realize about I'm so, in tune with the questions and the exam, what's in front of me. I did not realize that there was a timer for the first 3 hours. I had no idea it was there. I was reading the questions, right, and reading the answers and figuring out which is the answer based on what's in front of me.
Wow. But that's why you got the 88.
80.83.
Yeah, it's still good.
And then
passing,
what's that?
As long as you see that passing mark, you're so friggin' like weightlifted.
Yep. Have you done any practice exams?
I have. So as you know, at the end of each chapter in the accounting portion, you have those exams.
Yes.
And I think you use them too. I'm using the Exam Pros. So
Okay.
he's like some of those exams. So yeah, I am working on those. And I'm trying to get in at least an hour and a half to 2 hours of reading and just studying every night if I can. There are some days I haven't been able to because, as you know, life happens.
Life occurs, and
And we have a business. I'm the bookkeeper. I'm the time manager for the business. I'm the scheduler. I'm the everything behind the scenes. So it's a lot.
Gotcha.
So.
So I was told, and it's worked for me as well, that you should take these exams, each exam 3 times, the practice ones.
Yes, that's what
First
they keep
time, you read everything, don't answer it. Try to identify the keywords like min, must, shall, max, or suggested or recommended, because that'll give you the differences between the 2 books or the sets of books that you're using. The second time, answer the questions utilizing the key, the answer key at the end. And remember that. Like I have, printouts of like 125 questions here, and I next to each one, after I read them all, then I'll go to the index and I'll circle the answer, or I'll highlight the answer, and then I'll write which book. So if it's accounting. If it's accounting, page 173, it's accounting page 173. If it's IAI 201, it's 201, section 2.1, 2.1. And the third time, go through the practice exam without looking at the answer key. Utilizing is try to get it through your head, and like, how am I going to find these answers on exam day? Try this. Listen, it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right? But not to belittle anyone, but if I there's lots of people I see that are hacks, especially down in Florida. But they pass the exams, and I'm thinking in my head, well, if they can pass it, I can surely pass it. Go in there with a winning attitude, and just the right mindset. If you go in there like, oh my God, I'm not going to pass it, you're setting yourself up for failure. Motivate yourself. Listen, I am going to pass this. I am going to conquer. I am going to walk out of here with a passing grade. What really got me though, and nervousness. So I already answered all the questions, and then they go, "Are you sure you're done?" Right? And are you sure again? And you have to type in your name, I believe, and then it gives you a questionnaire about how the exam center was. I'm like, "Fuck this!" Like, just tell me what I did. Right. And then it says, "Okay, you're all done. Get up and leave your seat." I'm like, well, "Where's the results?" Like in South Carolina, it tells you right on the screen, pass or fail.
Oh,
So now I'm nervous as hell, and I get up out of my seat, and I just one little room that's used for ADA, you know, for wheelchair or ADA compliant things, and they only gave it to me because they were full with these college kids taking a health MRI exam, what I don't know, some kind of medical healthcare exam, and it was like literally 20 people in 3 rooms, but they gave me this one room all to myself, which is great because I didn't have to listen to their noise and they're not. But they'll give you headphones, you know, the noise cancel, you know,
okay.
like ear thingies. So I got up and then I went to the front desk and she gives me my key to my locker because they give you a locker to put everything into. And they give you, you know, you take stuff out of your locker, you return the key, and then they give you the piece of paper. And they even say like congratulations or better luck next time. Like, you know, good luck. Oh no, I forgot what she told me. She goes, have a great day. Something like that. And I'm like, you know, like, and I look at it like, yes, fuck yeah, I passed. And I don't know if you saw my uncensored video. Like I actually recorded a scene in my car once I got to the car. I was like,
Yeah, I did. I
yeah.
watched it. I know.
And
I really
it was
liked
very
it.
exciting because it was really, really, really a hard exam. The
Yeah.
accounting stuff really got me. Um,
That's
but
the part, like, it's no damn joke. Like, some of those freaking problems, I'm like, what? Like, I'm reading them and they're still like not, I'm like, what? And I think that's what's getting to me. It's like not even the Bible. I call this thing the Bible, but like that I can navigate, but the stupid accounting. And I'm not horrible at math, but like you said, those problems, you need to be like a mathematician plus. Like I'm like, what? So
the hardest ones that I had, and you really all you need is a calculator to figure it out. But based on the cost, the total price of the job or the contract, you know, what would it cost to buy the bond for that project? Those were my hardest those hardest ones, and there were I would say there are 4 or 5 questions like that on the exam, and maybe
um,
one is part of like the placebo ones that they don't count, but one of the exams were okay. So if the project value is $1.7 million, what would the bond cost for this project? And you have the answers because they're in the book. They're in this book, the blue book, right? And not in the accounting book because that's just general accounting, right? But they're in there. And also in the sample exams, you know, they're there. But listen, if you don't know that, you know, the first X thousand equal, you know, oh yeah. So the first 100,000 is, you know, $25 per whatever, and the next 400,000 is $15, and the next, you know, million is 10. You know, if you don't know those, or you don't know how to find those, you just lost, you know, 4 or 5 questions easily. But listen, you have a 25% chance of getting it right, right? A, B,
yeah.
C, D. You have 4 questions. That's what part of the last thing with the tricks. More tricks is, let's say you went through let's say you went through 10. You went through 10 sample questions, right? And if you guessed A on all of those, the chances are you're going to get a 25%. You'll get 25% of those correct. If you consistently mark A, if you do like a zigzag or A, C, B, D, E, you know what, A, B, you know, if you guess at one of those 4 randomly, you're less likely to get 25% of them right. So if you're going to guess consistently.
Yeah.
Guess all A's, guess all B's, guess all D's, guess all C's, because you're likely to get a little bit more, a slight edge, like playing blackjack. You have a
Yeah.
slight little edge, right? If you count cards, for example, right?
Right. Right.
But you want to be able to get the edge on the exam, and if you don't know it, process of elimination. But if there's a lot you don't know, stick to one answer and just answer all of them that way. But
How many did you like have to put on your nose? Do you remember on your
okay, so in my nose, I believe there was like 40.
Oh, okay.
So I believe I had like 60 or 65 were
Yeah.
yeses.
Okay.
And you know, so it's 125, so it's 120. So now I already got right away, instantly 50%.
Right.
And there's a margin of error because you could think it's that, but not. So let's say 40% I got right. So now I'm already 2 hours into it. I should have a 40% in the bag, 40% right of 50% that I've answered. So now let's try to get the rest. And knowing how to find, you know, the answers in the books, because they're in there. It's not like they're making up questions and then they don't exist. The answers word for word are in that book. One of my first questions earlier on of the exam, because it's math, of course, right? And I didn't use this trick then because I totally forgot. But one of the first questions was in this thing, and it was actually, those test questions at the back of the book, on the back of the chapter. It was word for word, and it was like the cash movement method describes number 6. I don't know if you can see that. Where's number 6? All right.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was like one of those, and it was A, B, C, or D, exactly how it is in the book. And I'm like, no shit. So I looked it up. I'm like, there's the answer. Boom, done. And that went. And I took my little finger and I wiped it off from the no and I put it in a yes. And boom, there was another slash in the yes thing. And one by one, I was getting more of them right. And was I confident I passed when I got that piece of paper? I think I did well. I was unsure. I was unsure that it was probably just passed or just failed. And I was surprised that I got a little over 80, the 80.83 or 86, whatever it is.
How long did you study?
How long did I study for? It's a great question. Not long, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I set up all the books in my dining room and I focused on the tabs and highlighting. Tabbing, the chapters that are relevant, with the what's the program, the business that we bought from?
Oh, from Exam Pros.
Exam Pros, yeah. So I utilize those, but a lot of it is like, like I don't need to put a tab in this because I already know it's there because I already skimmed through all the books already. But I highlighted and you're not supposed to use a pen to like circle things, but I underlined a little bit. Another thing, this camera is like all over you, so do not write in your books. If you write in the books, you could be disqualified because you could be helping to document the question that was given or the answer that was given to help others.
Oh, while you're taking the test.
Yeah, don't write in your book. If you're gonna have the balls to do it, or just put like a little dot next to it, like you're ever gonna listen. You pass this, you're never gonna open these books ever again. Like these books are up in my cabinet, and they're there. What's occupying my dining room table? And it's a big ass dining room table. One side is all the plumbing, which I'm not opening, I'm not touching until after I pass the AirB exam, or until after the AirB exam, and then I'm gonna switch sides if I didn't pass. So right now I'm focusing on AirB, and I'm gonna be more intent on that going into next week.
And you're still working full time and running your business, mind you. Like you got to add that in there, and answering people like me, and answering emails for help.
Generally, I'm no longer in the field at around 12:30, 1 o'clock. Okay. I come home and then I do my video processing because every day I post a video because it's made that day generally. And I upload it to YouTube and I do the keywords and I do all the analytics behind it so the people will watch it, which it's summertime now. It's the same repetitive content. So less people are watching. The people love the boilers and the furnaces more and the plumbing more than air conditioning over and over and over again. You never know what people are going to watch, to be honest. But so usually around 5 o'clock, or after dinner, I will spend, maybe an hour and a half, an hour just reading. Or I'll take, one of the books to the bed with me. Like right now, I have the MedGas, the green book for plumbing, next to my bed because we highlighted in the class I took 2 weeks ago, 2 chapters. And it's a little thin little book, just 2 chapters, which is most of the book. I'm just skimming through just so I can, just get into my head of what's in this book and how to find it, because keywords and time management, what book to grab. And, you'll get lucky because you'll have questions that say, according to IAI, 401, or according to the Bill's Guide for Accounting, blank shall mean blank,
And there's a few of those you said, right?
There's a lot of those.
Oh, good.
Maybe 20%, 25% of the questions say according. And again, your mileage may vary. You could have, more of this than that. But one thing that that really got me, and it was a tax question. We're dealing with payroll tax and paying of those taxes. And it was one thing I never heard of, and it's FIT. And I thought it meant Florida income tax or federal income tax, but I never even heard of this term before, FIT. But it was one of those stupid things that I know there's 2 that are not it, and maybe it's one of them, but it had to be second guessing it. If you're second guessing yourself, skip it. Put a little, mark it on the computer screen, mark it on your little sheet, and go back to it if you have any time left at the end. And when you're done, let's say you have an hour left, or let's say you have 20 minutes left. Don't start second guessing yourself. You know, if you thought that, okay, this is what it should be, or maybe it's not that, you know what, you better, if you have 20 minutes left, you better off, you know what, throw in a towel and roll the dice, because you never know. You could have gotten it right, or you're not, and you could have passed or not have passed. But don't start second guessing yourself, especially if you have some time left. You have 20 minutes, half hour, an hour left. Listen, I think about 70 minutes left, time remaining. I think it said 70 or 80, whatever it was. It was a little more than an hour. And I was going to start going through questions like, I'm not going through this again. I already answered the ones that I marked, the ones that were blank. I answered them, and we'll see. Otherwise, I could spend, another day there.
Yeah. They
At
say
this point,
don't second. That's exactly what they say. Like, if you have the answer, you put it, let's go with that answer. Don't ever erase it and go back to a different one.
so at this point, I think it's like 1:45. I don't know what time it is, but I think it's like afternoon, because there's only like a little over an hour left. And I started at 8, so that puts me at around 1:30, whatever it is. And I was like, all right, let's see, throw in a towel and roll the dice and see what happens. And sure enough, it passed. But I tell you what, I am nervous about the AirB exam. A little nervous about it. There's a lot. They have the Florida Energy Code. There's a lot going on. Now, I'm not taking the Air A, because that's dealing over 25 tons of cooling, but I don't think I'm ever going to need that industrial cooling tower. I'm never going to use that. I want to primarily focus on, residential service and repair. And, if things are really busy in Florida like they are, I'll have a, new construction division where we'll just, build build outs and homes.
Yeah.
And from what I see, people just building nonstop down in Florida. Doesn't stop.
It's madness. Like, I've been here over 40 years. It's the last 5, 6 have just been insanity, true insanity. Such growth. It's such growth. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know you're getting, we're running short on time, but real quick. So you feel like the most important thing is obviously using your tabs that, that I've already tabbed, utilizing those, and then focusing on 20% is good with that rate that you gave me with the according to. That's awesome. Because then you can look at that. But I think that was my main key, because that's what one of the things that the exam pro guy said. Use your glossary, use your index, don't overthink it. And so.
And let's say you're back to the indexing tabs and highlighting, because we didn't really talk about highlighting that much. Random page. Oh, here, there you go. So here's a random page in the accounting book. Like, listen, and you have these stupid highlighters. Let's talk about highlighting, right? Look at this page. No, this page right here. You see how it bleeds through?
Yeah.
If you've got a highlighter that's bleeding through, that will confuse the shit out of me. I'm sure it'll confuse you as well. But your eyes want to go there because it's highlighted. So when you're highlighting a book, make sure it doesn't bleed through it, because it'll throw you off. If you're highlighting.
The yellow seems to be just in case.
Yeah, I have those now for my books downstairs.
Yeah, yellow seems to be the best.
When you're doing the highlighting and the instructions, they tell you to highlight this whole paragraph. Don't highlight the whole freaking paragraph. Don't do that. Read the paragraph. Maybe put a box around the whole thing and underline or just highlight certain key words of that, so you have an understanding what the paragraph's about. Because if you highlight half a page, you're wasting time on the exam day reading this, trying to hope to find the answer, and you're just wasting time. And also, don't get frustrated. Sorry, hold on. Don't get frustrated, because this will happen. You're looking for an answer on parts of your books that are highlighted, and it's not there, or it'll be somewhere. Oh, it's here. It's unhighlighted section. Don't get frustrated that it's not there. Be proud of your accomplishment. That hey, listen, I went to the right section. It wasn't highlighted, but guess what? Questions change. And just make note of it. Pat yourself in the back, like, I don't need them.
Yeah,
I found it myself, but they helped you learn the methods of taking the exam, and that's all this is about. It's not about memorization.
Right.
This is not about. This is about use of time management and knowing how to read the question and find the right answer in your books, which they're in there. That's what these exams are about. You have to think about it. These are psychological testing organizations. They're in the business to mess up with your brain. And they only want a certain amount of percentage of people to pass. There's a reason why, like the plumbing exam, there's a reason why only like I think 35 or 40% of the people taking for the first time pass. If you don't pass that plumbing exam your first time, you're screwed. I don't know if you know these rates because Florida's an open record state, but if you don't pass it the first time, you could be taking that exam 8, 10 times and you'll never pass. Because only at that after the first time, your rate goes from like 30 to 40% down to like 12% ever to pass. And I was in a class a couple weekends ago where there's a couple guys took this exam 8 times. That's discouraging and it's upsetting, and that's one of the reasons why I went with Construction Estimating Institute (CEI), because they offered 1 day of the ISO drawings, and it makes up. Listen, if you ace the plumbing exam in the state of Florida, if you ace every single one right and you fail the ISOs, you're not a master plumber in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't get that, I think that's 33% or whatever it is, because it's it's there. If you ace the exam questions 100%, but you fail the ISOs, you're not a plumber in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
You'll fail, and they'll email you the results in a couple days. They used to give you the results right away, and I heard now they give you the results in a couple days from Kissimmee. You'll learn this when you take that class.
Okay.
With business law, not to be discouraging, but gotta be real. The business law, it's a little under 50% people pass the first time around. And when you fail, they don't tell you what you got wrong.
Right. Right.
I believe you can probably ask for a review. I believe, I could be wrong. You could do that with plumbing. Like, let's say you failed the plumbing, you can ask for a review the next time around, and they'll go over it with you. I'll show you what you got wrong. But then you have to wait till the next time after that to take the exam again. I don't know if they do it with the business law exam, but under 50% of people pass the first time around. So don't let it discourage you, but keep in mind, people do pass this.
Yeah.
And it's meant to weed out the people who maybe shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be business owners. Maybe there's a reason why you have not an authorized user. What do you call the license holder? What is that called in Florida?
Oh gosh.
Not a registered agent. It's
the
authorized party or
sponsors you. Yeah.
Yeah, the person who's actually in charge of the company and daily operations and the finance of the company that is never there. It's like a silent investor, but they're the license holder. But
the one that gets 20% of your business.
Exactly. So yeah. So listen, when if you get a summons, right, because you guys did something wrong, it's not you appearing right now, right? Because you're not the license holder. It's that guy or woman who is the license holder going to being held responsible for the actions of the business that technically they're responsible for. So in New York, that doesn't exist. In New York, if you're not an owner of 50% or more of the company, it's like license fraud or whatever. New York is not like that, like in far as like tracking these people down, but New York doesn't exist. If I was a master plumber and the person owning the majority of the company needs to be the master plumber of the business. South Carolina and Florida are different, and other states are vastly different as well. Okay. But don't be discouraged. These companies that like in South Carolina, it's called PSI, and it's Psychological Screening Institute. They're there to mess with your brain. But keep in mind, the exam is not memorization. You need to be able to read the question, and if you don't understand the question, look at the answers and see what book that's taking you to. If it's a lot of accounting questions or cash management or how to write off something, it's going to be in that accounting book. If it's contract management, the contract states, owner, blah, 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 supplies and architect and contractor does this, it's going to be in one of the IAI ones. So look at the answers. If the question makes no sense, or you're just like stumped, like, oh my God, what am I going what this means? This makes no sense. Look at the answers, and it should bring you to the right book generally.
Okay. Great tip. Okay.
So the ABC, we talked about the multiple choice, and a lot of, not every single time, but majority of the time, 2 out of those 4 answers, of the multiple choice won't even make any sense. Like, how is this related to it? And those two aren't that. So
So
now it's
just,
one
yeah,
or the other,
that's 50-50.
and try to find it. But if you're gonna guess, guess consistently, because statistically you'll be ahead of the game. Rather than just randomly and don't do that. You might as well just go across the board on all of them the
Right.
same.
Okay.
When's your business exam?
July 20th. So
Oh, so
July
you
20th.
have a month.
A month. Yes, I'm a month away.
You
Exactly.
have a month.
And when you get there, they only allow you to come in with just your calculator, just
So let
basic.
me tell you how it worked for me at Pearson VUE in New York. My exam starts at 8 o'clock. And so I got there, it was like an hour drive from here because it's all the way out in Long Island. And so I got there like at 7:20. And I sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes. I was like, let me walk in there and see what happens. If they're open, great. If not, but I was told you should walk in a half hour early. So if it's 8 o'clock, walk in at 7:30. And you'd be surprised if it's busy in there already. Mine, it was the waiting room was packed with people, but relatively quickly, the person at the desk called me to the thing and gave me a locker. And you take everything off. You take a hat off. If you're wearing sunglasses, put those away. You're wearing a watch, put that away. Any jewelry, I like to wear gold. Jewelry goes up. You can wear a wedding ring. Nothing in your pockets. It's like the car key, wallet. Put that in the locker, and you're allowed your approved books. Now, I've heard different things about different testing facilities, but I know Pearson VUE, they are going to skim through the book, make sure that nothing flies out of it. Make sure your tabs are secure, like you can't pull them out. I like to use a label maker, right? And then I like here bad debts, like I could pull on that, right? Because I took some packing tape, clear shipping, like Scotch tape, and I wrapped it around it to the other side, and that's not going anywhere. But it's also a nice printed looking little label tab. So they're gonna look through all your books. They can take your picture with a webcam, so you have that, and they'll make you turn out your pockets inside out, and you'll have that white little piece of plastic, a dry erase pencil, a pen, and your books, your approved books. Literally where I went, and I could have had all the answers and written all the books. They didn't even look at them. They didn't. I could have had a cheat sheet inside everyone. They didn't look at it. But keep in mind, there's a camera overhead. There's a camera there, There's maybe even one under the desk. Who knows? But if you're cheating, it's criminal. Because you're falsifying, I think business records, and you're also it's in that blue book. It's in the Florida Contractors Manual. Like, it's part of the licensing procedure. Like, if you're cheating on this exam, it's a felony.
Yeah.
Right. It's they're going to call the police and they're going to take you out in handcuffs.
Yeah.
No joke. And I was stressed also when I went to Orlando a couple of weeks ago for the plumbing exam prep class. The instructor talked about a few things like that. Listen, you're going to cheat. They're going to find out. So don't cheat. If you're going to make a little note inside your book or underline, what the answer was, they're think like them. Who are you going to give this information to? Right? As if your own future reference, but you're not supposed to write in it. And even the tabs, you're not supposed to write. You're supposed to be relevant to the chapter. Well, you're supposed to be the chapter, but here I have bad debt procedures. But guess what it is? It's bad debt procedures.
Yeah.
But it's time. It all comes down to time. Go through all the questions first. Just skim through all of them. And if you've done enough practice exams, you'll know what book to pull the answers from for each question. So don't get held up on a question. If you don't know it, skip it. It's the best thing for you to do. If you spend 20 minutes trying to find, dumping through books, skimming through books, it's like, oh my God, you wasted 20 minutes. And guess what? Those 20 minutes could have cost you 5, 6, 7 answers that you would have gotten right because you know them, right? But you get held up on these stupid questions, and then you ran out of time. You couldn't answer the ones you would have gotten. Don't be discouraged. Go in there with a positive attitude that I'm going to do this. I'm going to pass. I want this to better my life, it's just passing these exams when you want to excel in life. you have that great sense of accomplishment. I'll never forget the days I walked out of Myrtle Beach. I'll never forget the day I walked out of Islandia. You know, I took my business law exam. You'll never forget that, right? And you'll remember that until you die, and
Yeah.
maybe pass on the story to somebody else. Like I'm
Yeah.
passing on how I passed it, and it may, God willing, it works for you. But if it does, don't be discouraged. Just try it again, because the business law is I hear is easier than the plumbing exam, the trades exams.
Yeah.
And out of all of them, plumbing is one of the hardest ones.
Okay. Sorry, she's got to go out.
It's okay.
My pup. It's been a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you. Thank you. Honestly,
Thank you.
I
If you have any questions, email me, Mike at mikeypipes.com. I don't like people who are watching this. It pisses me off when it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 11 o'clock in the morning. Someone's calling my office to speak to me. I was like, listen, you have my email address, mikeypipes.com. Listen, unless it's a service request and you live in my area and you want me to help you, don't call, because you're just wasting time, valuable resources. Send me an email. I'm always good at responding to emails. It may take me a couple of days, but I'll do it. And I just want to help others, because together we can make the trades great again.
And you know what's awesome about that is I think when you pay it forward, it all comes back to you tenfold. So it's appreciated. Trust me, that's probably why your YouTube channel is so popular. I love it. I really do. Because trades, you know what? Trades are, oh my gosh, they're so darn important.
Remember this. I'm sure you know this, but the people who are listening when I post this video, you will never be outsourced, ever. There will not be a person sitting in a call center in India who will be able to, fix your toilet or fix your air conditioning, fix the lighting in your home or office. It's working with your hands. The blue collars trades are what keeps everything going, regardless of where you are in the world.
Amen.
Remember that. If you're aware, if you went to college for 4 years, got your MBA, got your PhD, whatever it is, right? Remember this: at the end of the day, you are just as important as the most highest paid attorney, doctor, whatever, accountant, right? We have, if not more or equal to, the amount of training that these people do, and there's no reason why you should not command infinite success, and with that comes wealth. There's no reason why if you put your mind to it, regardless of your background, where you come from, it can be done. As long as you have the willingness and determination to succeed, you will. And these exams are they're mind fucks. They don't want you to pass, but if you can read and you can understand that you can find the answers in the book, you will win the battle and you will become licensed.
Amen. Amen to that.
Melba, it's been a pleasure.
You too. Thank you so much. And whenever you're back down in Boynton, you got to come see us. So
gotcha.
I'll treat you.
Okay. Awesome. My in-laws live in Boynton Beach in Majestic Isles. So right off of
they're not far from us, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you'll be the first phone call I make, or
and I will see you in Kissimmee.
Yes, for sure. Okay. You have a wonderful
evening.
Thank you,
Melba.
All right. Bye-bye.
God bless.
You too. Bye-bye.